You're listening to Angelic Guidance, aka Stephanie Smith. Stephanie is a spiritual life coach, beauty guru, writer, and performing arts graduate. On this podcast, we'll be diving into topics around faith, spirituality, and how that fits in modern society. Thank you for joining us, and let's dive in.
Good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing today? I'm so happy and honored to be giving you guys another daily message. The first thing that came to me this morning, I got up and, I was praying and I asked God, I'm like, God, what's the message for today? And literally, the message that came to me was not really, I'm not going to say caring, but not letting what other people think cause you to doubt what it is God has for you. Okay. And I guess if you want to put it in a different way, not caring what other people think. But at the same time, being humble enough and being responsible enough to know, when you have to be, mature, responsible, and knowing when you're right and knowing how to do the right thing, okay? Because from what I'm seeing here, some of you guys, a lot of what's happening is because of what other people think or what other people have been saying about you, this has caused a huge delay. You see how I said delay, and as soon as I said delay, this ding came in. Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm talking about? Because if you guys were caring what other people think about you, and a lot of you guys were living to please other people rather than living to please yourself and please God, this has caused a huge delay in your purpose. It doesn't stop your purpose, but it definitely does cause roadblocks. You have to, like I said yesterday in the daily message, you have to consult with God about everything. If God said this is for you and this is what's best for you, then you cannot let someone that is not your father tell you otherwise. You know what I mean? For some of you guys, I'm seeing telepathy has been very strong. By the way, how many of you guys saw orbs yesterday, angels yesterday? Because I've been seeing them like crazy. When I saw them, I was like, oh my God, I like these daily messages because I could experience things the same time other people experience it, But it was pretty cool. But a lot of you guys, it's like your telepathy is a lot stronger. So you're able to really hear God a lot more. And even if you cannot put the messages 100% together right then and there, you know that there's something coming in. You are going to get subliminals here and there, symbols here and there, and that's what's been happening for you guys. And I said this yesterday. So a lot of that is according to the plans that God has for you. And that's also in Jeremiah 23 verse 11. And God knows your plans more than anybody else. God is the person that you consult in when it comes to your plans. So therefore, if you're being shown to do something, why would you let somebody else that is not God tell you otherwise and discourage you? I always say this, and I'm going to say it again. There's a percentage of people that think inside the box. And these percentages of people, it's not like anything's wrong with them. No, it's just that because they think inside the box and because they're afraid to step out of their comfort zone, because they're afraid to take risks. And that's where I said, a lot of the fear comes in. You're fearing, the positive changes in your life. You're fearing taking risks more than you're actually fearing fulfilling God's will, listening to God. And that can't happen, right? But there's people who think inside the box, and these individuals, it's like they stay stuck, they stay unhappy, they stay miserable, and they go through regrets, they go through remorse, and it shows, right? Later on in life, it shows. And they look back and they're like, what did I really accomplish that I've always wanted to do? What have I really accomplished that I want to do? Have I listened to my my soul? Have I listened to God? Because everybody's belief system's different. So it doesn't really matter about your belief system. However, when God speaks to you, God speaks directly to the soul. So if you're not listening to your soul and your intuition is saying, which is God talking to you and saying to you, listen, you got to do this, you got to do that, because you'll feel it. You can feel God too. If you can't hear God, you can still feel God, you know? So if God is saying you got to do this and you go against what you're supposed to be doing, and then years go by and you think back and you're like, oh my God, maybe I should have did that. That happens to everybody. Does not happen to you guys a lot where like you're supposed to do something, you don't do it, and right then and there you're getting this push to do it. That's God talking to you, pushing you to do it, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna hold back, I'm scared, I don't want to do it, I'm fearful, I don't have any faith, and you know, I'm just gonna wait. And then you wait, and then you miss that opportunity, you know, or that ticket becomes an extra $500 when you could have got it for that price, but you know, you chose not to get it at that time because you were scared, you didn't have faith. Do you get what I'm saying? That's an example, right? So a percentage of those people, they stay inside that box, and then years go by, they look back, and then they regret certain things. And I always say to you guys yesterday, never regret anything in your life because it's meant to bring you to where you're going to be. Yes, that was meant to bring them to where they're supposed to be, and that, what they're regretting is a lesson that they have learned, and it's a lesson, you know, basically listening to your faith and listening to God and not going against that. And that's a lesson. Everything in life is a lesson, so that's why I say never regret things. But if you really think about it, that's how they would be thinking. Oh my God, I regret this, I regret that, I regret that, you know? And then there's a percentage of people who think outside the box and they take the risks. And that's a very small percentage. And those who actually take that risk, those are the ones who reap a lot of rewards for taking the risks. Those are the ones that are like, oh my God, had I not done this, I would not have even been here today. And it took that one time of taking a risk, or it took multiple times taking a risk. And a lot of the reason why people are afraid to step outside the box is because of what other people think. For those going through a legal situation, you got to think about your truth. What is your truth? What is the truth? Whatever the truth is, you got to move towards that. You know, for those of you guys, you know, I'm seeing a lot of you guys have to do a lot more reading, a lot more researching. And this could be for anything. It could be for school. It could be for work. It could be, you know, reading the Bible. It can be, you know, learning more about your religious belief. You know what I mean? Or spirituality, whatever your belief is. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there's a lot of research. I feel like some of you guys have a lot of researching to do, and you may have procrastinated on it because I feel like you guys were afraid to move forward. You cannot be afraid to move forward. Okay, I'm also seeing for some of you guys, there is a surprise coming in. A surprise coming in. And to be honest, I feel the surprise is going to come through once you take that risk. I'm not sure who this is for and who's supposed to take that risk today. And they didn't take the risk because they're afraid of what someone's going to say, but take that risk and do not care what people are going to think or say, because the only thing that matters is what God tells you to do. If God says to do something, it should not matter what man says to do or how you're treated, etc. Most of the times people go through the hardest trials and obstacles when they listen to what God tells them to do, because what God tells them to do it's something out of the norm, and it's like a huge risk in everybody else's eyes, and even in your eyes, you're like, oh my God, this is such a huge risk. And then later on, you surprise yourself because you're like, holy cow, look what came out of it. My purpose came out of it. So you got to put the pride aside and not let fear get to you and move forward. Okay. Regardless of whatever it is you need to do, you know what that is. It's going to come to you, or it already came to you, or you're going to get that opportunity again. You already know what that is. You got to listen and you got to go for it and not think about what other people are going to think. I'm telling you that because that came through so strongly this morning. Like, stop thinking about what other people think. You know, just listen to God and just go with the flow and do what you need to do. And then when I checked the scripture that came out was for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 23 verse 11. So God is not going to put you in a situation that's going to harm you, that's going to hurt you. If God is telling you to do something, if God is saying, well, I need you to invest in this, and you're like, God, I can't invest in this because, you know, oh my God, it's going to cost me so much. God, if I invest in this, then I'm going to lose this. But doesn't God already know your future? And doesn't God already have the steps already planned out for you? God is not going to put you in a situation to invest in something knowing that you're going to lose everything. Why would God do that? So when God tells you to do something, believe that there's a reason behind it, and believe that, everything's already set in stone for you. There's always going to be a surprise coming in, and to you it's a surprise, but to God it's not a surprise, because God knows what he's going to do. It's a miracle, right? But to you it's going to be a miracle. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know what's going to happen. You will surprise yourself when you listen to what God tells you to do and you stop listening to other people. You will surprise yourself, and you will take yourself out of that percentage of being in that box, and you will be outside the box and be in that percentage that are outside the box. And believe me, outside the box is fun. Let me just tell you that, okay? I will see you guys over at Patreon for the bonus or in the extended. See you guys there. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Angelic Guidance, aka Stephanie Smith. Please rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's episode. And consider joining the Patreon at patreon.com/AngelicGuidance333. You can also check out extended videos at VIMEO/AngelicGuidance333. For bookings and healing remedies, please visit AngelicGuidanceRemedy.com. Until next time, have a great day.